In nearly every pet store, flea and tick aisle, every box looks like it promises the same protection. But once you read past the packaging, many of these products are hiding outdated chemicals and a troubling history of harming the exact animals they claim to protect. I investigated 8 popular cat flea and tick treatment brands and found that most are cutting corners while charging premium prices for outdated or even dangerous formulas. Skin reactions, seizures, and ingredients banned for cats were surprisingly common. I found 2 brands that actually deliver safe, effective protection without putting your cat at risk. Number 8. Seresto Collar. The Seresto collar has been a staple hanging on pet store shelves for years. Marketed as a long-lasting, low-maintenance solution you simply clip around your cat's neck and forget about for 8 months. At around $28 per collar, that works out to roughly $3.50 a month, which sounds reasonable for that long a stretch of protection. But behind the sleek packaging and the convenience pitch lies a far more troubling track record. The collar has been named in more than 100,000 incident reports filed with regulators, and has reportedly been linked to as many as 1,700 pet deaths. Picture a cat wearing this collar day after day, the active ingredients slowly absorbing into its skin and bloodstream every single hour it stays on. For some cats, that constant low-level exposure has reportedly triggered tremors, skin lesions, and, in the most severe cases, reported deaths that pet owners only connected back to the collar after the damage was already done. One frustrated pet owner described putting the collar on their cat and within days noticing patches of fur falling out around the neck where the collar sat. Others have described their cats becoming unusually lethargic, refusing food, or twitching for no obvious reason shortly after the collar went on. Despite the mounting reports, the collar remains on shelves in pet stores and supermarkets across the country, often displayed right next to the cat treats and litter, making it easy for an unsuspecting owner to grab one without ever digging into the safety history behind it. Number 7. Hartz UltraGuard. Hartz UltraGuard sits in the budget aisle at around $8 for roughly 14 months' worth of doses, working out to less than $1 a month, making it one of the cheapest flea options a cat owner can find on the shelf. But that bargain price comes from an older spot on formula, the kind you squeeze directly onto the back of your cat's neck. And that formula has a long history of triggering adverse event reports filed with regulators. Picture a small bottle of liquid being squeezed onto the fur at the base of a cat's skull, the chemical sitting directly on the skin before slowly spreading across the body. For many cats, that same spot has reportedly turned red, irritated, and itchy within hours of application. Pet owners have described their cats scratching obsessively at the application site, some rubbing their necks against furniture and carpets, trying to get relief. Others have reported far more alarming symptoms, including lethargy that lasted for days, and even seizures that sent frightened owners rushing to emergency vet clinics. The packaging promises full body protection from fleas and ticks, but for a cat with sensitive skin, what's marketed as a quick and affordable fix can quietly turn into a frightening trip to the animal hospital instead. Number 6. Sentry and Sergeant's Collar. At around $6 per collar, this option is priced to move fast off the shelf, sitting right next to more expensive brands while looking nearly identical at a glance. The problem isn't the price tag, it's what's woven into the collar itself. These collars rely on older, harsher insecticides, the same category of chemicals that watchdog groups have flagged as among the most dangerous pet pesticides still legally sold today. Picture the collar resting against a cat's neck for weeks at a time, the chemical coating slowly rubbing off onto fur, skin, and even a child's hands during a routine cuddle on the couch. That kind of constant skin contact is exactly what raises concern among researchers studying long-term pesticide exposure in household pets. Cat owners have reported finding their cats pawing repeatedly at the collar, trying to claw it off their own neck within the first few days of wearing it. Others have described a strong chemical smell lingering in the room long after the collar was first opened from its packaging. Despite looking like just another harmless pet accessory hanging next to leashes and toys, this collar carries a far heavier risk profile than its low price tag would ever suggest to an unsuspecting shopper. Number 5. PetArmor Spot On. PetArmor markets itself as a trusted generic alternative, sitting at around $5 per dose, making it one of the most tempting options for budget-conscious cat owners trying to save money on routine flea prevention. The active ingredient is a generic version of fipronil, but unlike more advanced formulas, this version contains no insect growth regulator at all, meaning it only kills adult fleas while doing nothing to stop eggs and larvae from continuing the infestation cycle in the home. Picture a cat treated with this liquid, fleas dying on contact across the fur, while hidden eggs in the carpet and bedding continue hatching into a fresh wave of fleas within days. For the cat itself, skin reactions at the application site have also been a frequent complaint among owners trying this cheaper alternative. One pet owner described applying the product exactly as directed, only to find their cat obsessively licking and biting at the spot between its shoulder blades for hours afterward. Others have reported patches of irritated skin that took weeks to fully heal, even after switching to a different brand entirely. What looks like a smart way to save a few dollars at checkout often turns into a longer, more expensive battle against fleas that never actually leave the house in the first place. Number 4. Adams Plus Flea and Tick Spray. At around $10 a bottle, this spray promises a fast-acting, easy-to-apply solution you can mist directly onto your cat's fur whenever you spot the first signs of fleas jumping around the house. The problem is buried in the ingredient list. This spray contains permethrin, an active ingredient that is considered toxic to cats, and industry sources are blunt about it, stating plainly that products like this are appropriate for dogs only, since certain pesticides are toxic to cats even in small amounts. Picture a fine mist settling onto a cat's fur and skin, then picture that same cat grooming itself minutes later, licking the chemical directly off its own coat and swallowing it in the process. That single detail is exactly why permethrin exposure in cats has been linked to tremors, drooling, and, in severe cases, seizures requiring emergency veterinary treatment. Multiple pet owners have described mistakenly grabbing a dog-specific spray off the shelf, not realizing the same active ingredient meant to protect a dog could send their cat into a medical emergency within hours. The bottle sits in the same aisle, often beside nearly identical packaging made specifically for cats, making it disturbingly easy for any tired shopper to grab the wrong one without ever noticing the difference. Number 3. Bayer Advantage 2. Bayer Advantage 2 markets itself as complete flea and tick protection, priced around $10 to $12 per dose, and sitting in a premium-looking box designed to look like a serious, professional-grade solution. But despite the all-purpose marketing on the front of the box, this formula only kills fleas. It does nothing against ticks or lice, leaving a noticeable gap in protection for any cat that spends time outdoors or lives alongside other pets that come and go from the yard. Picture a cat treated with this product walking through tall grass in the backyard, fully protected against fleas jumping on, while a tick latches onto its skin completely unaffected by the treatment sitting on its fur. Pet owners have described feeling blindsided after finding a tick buried in their cat's fur weeks after applying this product, assuming the box's all-purpose language meant they were covered against exactly this kind of parasite. For cats that only stay indoors, this gap may never matter, but for any cat with even occasional access to grass, bushes, or a backyard, the marketing promises far more protection than the formula actually delivers. Before I reveal the 2 brands that actually pass, If this has been useful so far, drop a like. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this. And let me know in the comments which flea treatment your cat currently uses. Number 2. Cheristin. Cheristin sits at around $15 per dose, available right over the counter without needing a prescription or a trip to the vet, making it an accessible option for cat owners who want something trustworthy without extra hassle. What sets this apart is the clinical testing behind it. Cheristin has been clinically tested and shown to be both safe and effective specifically for cats, not adapted from a dog formula or stretched across multiple species the way cheaper alternatives often are. Picture a single drop applied to the back of a cat's neck, the formula spreading evenly across the skin's natural oils within hours, killing fleas quickly while staying gentle enough for sensitive cats, including kittens old enough to be treated. Cat owners have described switching to this brand after bad experiences elsewhere and noticing a clear difference almost immediately, with no skin redness, no obsessive scratching, and no lethargy in the days following application. For a cat owner who wants real evidence behind a product rather than just a confident label, Cheristin lands at number 2 because of exactly that. Tested results instead of marketing promises. Number 1. Frontline Plus. Frontline Plus sits at around $15 to $18 per dose, and unlike most of the brands on this list, it actually backs up its packaging with a formula built around 2 separate active ingredients working together rather than just one. The first ingredient, fipronil, kills fleas within 12 hours and ticks within 48 hours, while the second ingredient, an insect growth regulator, stops eggs and larvae from ever developing into the next generation of fleas hiding in the carpet and furniture. Picture a single dose applied between a cat's shoulder blades, spreading across the skin to create a barrier that doesn't just kill the fleas you can see, but breaks the entire reproductive cycle happening out of sight in the home. This formula also covers lice, something most competitors on this list don't even attempt to address. Pet owners have described using Frontline Plus for years without a single skin reaction, watching fleas disappear within the first day and never dealing with a second wave hatching weeks later, the way cheaper sprays and collars often allow. Overall, Frontline Plus easily feels like the benchmark every other brand on this list should be measured against. A formula that actually matches its promises instead of relying on convenience and price alone to win shelf space.